Welcome to me, where suspenseful, thrilling, and mysterious stories will draw you into a world where the lines between reality and fantasy seem to blur. When the night falls, when all the sounds gradually quiet down, leaving only your own heartbeat and breathing, that's when these stories begin. Tensions, unsolved mysteries, moments that will make you hold your breath in fear or curiosity, all are waiting for you ahead. Find a comfortable seat, dim the lights, and let this sound guide you on a journey that is not for the faint of heart. I want each of you to leave a comment sharing where you are in the world. And if you are enjoying the episodes, don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel now. Relax. Are you ready? If so, join me in the first story right now. And then the red one enters. A great artist once said, "Color. What a deep and mysterious language, the language of dreams." Depending on the situation or distraction, this philosophy unquestionably plays an integral part in Herbert Truelove's meandering existence, floating and gliding from one state of contented, colorful contemplation to the next, regardless of the consequences. It is Tuesday. Spring has just about sprung, and a dapple of weak sunlight is finally threatening to break through the clouds that have been in perpetual domination since last October. At least it seems that way to Herb, who, as we speak, is in a daydream of sorts, caught between the grim reality of his humdrum day job and the fantastical scenes that his mind is playing out to him. Today, softly tinted marshmallow cats and dogs with expertly curated mustaches and jaunty little hats are fleeting across his venturing mind. Everything is off and hazy around the edges. The sun's faint rays kiss the scene with hues of pale yellow, blue, and pink. And across the dusty blue sky, cloud-like forms are enticing him away to somewhere far beyond the gray walls of reality, where Herb's flesh and bones exist. True love. Shrill and pointed as ever, the bespectacled and suited Geraldine Ledbetter, a storm cloud personified, marches across the office and places herself between the window and Herb's reverie. She casts the darkest kind of shadow across the desk, perhaps the sort you might encounter in a terrible nightmare. Are the figures for the board meeting ready yet? The words thunder reverberating in Herb's ears. But he is not easily fazed. Herb has learned that it is best to do whatever is asked of him. Herb knows that it's wise to keep his head down and complete his work to an adequate standard so that it attracts minimal attention. Herb knows where his mind would rather be. The mustachioed marshmallow cats and dogs saunter away towards the rapidly graying clouds, and Herb, rubbing his eyes, waggles the gray plastic mouse to motion his laptop back into life. "Half an hour," mutters Herb, as he adjusts himself to the reality that surrounds him. The cats and dogs disappearing into the cloudy horizon. His tired eyes flicker across the incomplete spreadsheet that occupies the screen. Conditional formatting highlights the cells that need to be completed in a garish, bright yellow. As Herb knows from bitter experience, the department heads are notoriously tardy in submitting their month-end figures, and this month is no exception, and that will include the projections for the second quarter. The dark outline of Geraldine Ledbetter demands rather than questions. Of course, around the edge of Geraldine's heavy form, Herb can see a butterfly hovering outside the window, its golden-tipped wings unusually early for the time of year, but splendid all the same as it flutters in the mid-morning light. On my desk by 11 sharp then. Then Geraldine, engulfed within her ominous cloud, rumbles back through the office and is gone. The light resumes its place on Herb's desk, and his pupils contract for a moment. As he refocuses, he watches the butterfly as it continues to dance outside the window, coaxing and tantalizing, almost coquettishly, if a butterfly could assume such a demeanor. "Hey, Herb, look at me." Herb runs his hand over his chin, catching the patch of stubble that he's missed during this morning's shave. The empty yellow cells blink at him. Herb is no fool, of course. He is something of a spreadsheet genius, and all the projections, graphs, and charts will update automatically as soon as he inputs the missing figures. He turns his attention away from the butterfly for a moment and flicks to his emails. Nothing. 5 department heads have still not submitted their figures. Herb detests having to chase them. They make him feel insignificant, as though they have more important things to think about than a few numbers. Numbers that you should bloody well know if you had any clue what you were doing, thinks Herb. The tapping at the window draws his attention away from the screen. The butterfly is still there, and in the distance, pink and blue, marshmallow, cats and dwarfs with mustaches and jaunty hats are bounding along the treetops. The butterfly poses enigmatically on a small branch that grows out of the old brickwork, stretching and twitching its outstretched wings. Herb is so overwhelmingly compelled by the creature that he moves cautiously round to the other side of the desk and crouches down, the thinning fabric of his trousers straining at the knees as he does so. The glass separates his nose from the butterfly by less than an inch. Over the hills and the meadows, golden yellow with rapeseed and sunflowers, far too early for the time of year, but glorious all the same. The countryside is ablaze with color as Herb and the butterfly soar, dipping and flying over the landscape below, hanging on tightly to its wings, delighting in every swirl and swoop. Herb is surprised to see strange markings on the insect, not usual for this type. In between the clouds, the cats and dogs nod and doff their hats as he passes, and Herb strains his eyes against the wind, fascinated by the butterfly, curious to examine more closely its squiggles and shapes. Back at his desk, Herb recalls the markings, which were in fact numbers. 5 of them etched in fine, flowing lines across the butterfly's wings. He opens the spreadsheet and, compelled by something he knows not, he enters the numbers into the bright yellow cells, which immediately reformat to corporate gray. The bottom line updates, the graphs and charts complete. All is done. But the cell containing the overall projection for the next quarter is now red. This doesn't surprise Herb. The second quarter is always like that. So he prints off copies for the board meeting, slides them onto Geraldine's desk whilst she's in the washroom, and disappears for an early lunch. Outside, the sun has burned away the hazy cloud of earlier, and the day promises to be a little warmer than of late. Herb buys a takeaway sandwich and coffee. Then, in the small memorial garden down the road from the office, he finds an empty bench facing the sun. He sips the coffee, letting the warm, milky substance trickle down his throat and warm his insides, the caffeine tingling through his veins. Herb closes his eyes. Blotches of red, orange, and green fill his vision as the light from the sun leaves its mark. The green shapes begin to move in slow, swirling motions, bumping off the red and orange like a crooked kaleidoscope. Herb recalls holding his eye to the brightly decorated tube, turning the colored beads, reflecting in the mirrors. In the distance, his mother is calling him in from the living room to go through to the kitchen for his dinner. The kaleidoscope falls to the floor, and the green swirls fill his vision as a formation of leaves and petals spin clockwise and then anti-clockwise, alternating, until a purple snake pokes its head through the center of the arrangement. It smiles. It's a pleasant enough smile, though perhaps verging on the sinister, and the corners of Herb's mouth twitch slightly. People passing through the memorial garden give him a wide berth. Herb sips the last of his tepid coffee, eats the ham sandwich, which is now lukewarm, and stretches his legs before heading back inside. As he passes the office window, he checks his reflection. Reasonable enough, if a little worn around the edges, but he notices that his shirt looks an odd color. Herb shakes his head. Just the light, and heads back into the office. Herb's stomach sinks as, returning to his desk, he sees the familiar outline of Geraldine against the window. But as he gets closer, he notices an expression on her face that he's never seen before. Not the usual storm cloud, more like a break in the weather, a lightening of the day. There's a faint flush of color to her cheeks, a softening of her usually harsh and critical eyes. Her blouse, usually a nondescript department store shade of grayish beige, now seems to emit a slight hint of pink, not bright enough to be obvious, but just enough to make Herb look twice. "The board meeting went well," she says. The projections were in line with expectations. "Good work, true love," Herb nods, not sure how to respond. She has never called his work good before. Ever. "I need you to run some modeling," she continues. "Future projections, based on recent trends. A few different scenarios. I want to see what we're looking at for the next couple of years." She turns to leave, then pauses. "By the way," she adds, looking Herb up and down in a way that makes him feel like he's transparent. "I like that shirt on you. You had a dark blue one on before, didn't you?" Herb looks down. His shirt seems pale and washed out, and he's not entirely sure what color it had been earlier, his morning routine being somewhat chaotic. The first shirt out of the wardrobe usually suffices. Herb sits at his desk. For a moment, he glances towards the window as temptation draws him to contemplate for just a little while. But Geraldine's demeanor has startled him, setting him off balance. For the first time since starting with the firm, he feels compelled to produce what she wants as accurately and as promptly as he can. Herb exhales slowly and turns to the spreadsheet. Numbers and formulas are a place of comfort and security for him, and he begins to plan out the equations and tables of data that he needs. Everything is mapping into the right place. No errors flash, but his mind is slowly drifting. The warmth of the sun still lingers on his face. The coffee tingles in his bloodstream, and Herb's fingers hover over the keys. The marshmallow cats and dogs have returned, their sugary bodies bound across a soft, undulating pastel landscape, their hats perched askew at gravity-defying angles. Herb watches the beautiful hues of the world around them, gentle like childhood dreams. He smiles as they swirl and leap, admiring their peculiar hats and mustaches. Then there's a flicker, and something deeper in his mind stirs. Herb snaps back to the screen. The formatting is wrong. Purple cells. They hadn't been there before. He hadn't formatted them that way. Herb was sure of that. The empty spaces within them pulse ever so slightly, and Herb's stomach tightens as he recalls the numbers on the golden-tipped butterfly. The snake was purple. He tries to remember the patterns. Had there been numbers? Herb leans back in his chair and closes his eyes, trying to recall, attempting to re-summon the lunchtime dream. The marshmallow creatures appear again, bounding across rolling, gentle pistachio fields, warm, comforting, inviting. But that's not what he needs right now. The snake had been different. It had coiled through a spiral of violet and deep shades of green, its smile knowing, its movements slow and deliberate. Herb pushes deeper into the memory, searching for it, feeling the gentle marshmallow dreams resisting, as if trying to keep him away. Then he finds it. The kaleidoscope returns. "Your dinner's ready, Herbert." But the snake slithers from the swirling pattern of leaves, its scales shimmering in purple hues. And there they are, the numbers, etched in golden ink along its back, shifting and twisting as the creature moves. Herb returns to his desk with a jolt. His fingers move quickly before his waking mind erases what he's just seen. And with shaking hands, he enters the snake's numbers into the spreadsheet. The model updates. The figures align. Herb's heart thumps in his chest. The purple cells have turned gray, but he doesn't know what the new snake-derived data means. But when he prints the pages and places them on Geraldine's desk, she looks at him with something close to admiration. "Interesting," she murmurs. Geraldine chews her freshly painted lips as her eyes move across the sheets. "This changes things. Leave this with me, true love." Then a pause as she adjusts the chain of magenta beads that seem to have appeared around her neck. "Thank you." Later in the week, we find Herb reflecting on the events of the last couple of days. He's continually surprised and a little bewildered at the changes he sees in Geraldine's persona, gaining subtle hints of color in both her wardrobe and her demeanor. With every financial forecast or model that she requests, amidst wild daytime dreams and flickering spreadsheets, Herb delivers the goods. He knows he's making a good impression, but his daytime reveries are changing, showing him things he's never seen before, and he isn't sure how he feels about that. The faded and worn knees of his trousers have thinned further, now nearly transparent. And when he catches his reflection in the washroom mirror, the patchy stubble on his chin seems to be developing a rather gray tinge. Herb's comforting daydreams, full of soft and gentle color, seem to come less readily, and the pink and blue creatures keep on vanishing over the darkened horizon. The spring that threatened to flourish just days earlier has retreated back into winter, and a bitter easterly wind whips around every building and street corner. Today, it is Friday, and Geraldine wants the latest figures to review over the weekend. As ever, Herb is on point to deliver. It seems to him that the department heads have faded into obscurity. They approve the files that Herb emails to them without a second glance, and Geraldine continues to be enthralled, enchanted almost, by the tables and charts that Herb sets on her desk at every demand. This morning, Geraldine's blouse is a vibrant cornflower blue, her smile brighter, her voice lighter. She calls Herb into her office. "Herb?" she smiles. "Did she just call me Herb? The board members have noticed your work. They want you to take on some more experimental forecasting. Herb's eyes drift past Geraldine's shoulder. Through the window, he sees a slender man in a tight red suit balancing on the edge of the window ledge. He's grinning at Herb, opening and closing his suit jacket, revealing something, a code perhaps, and then quickly concealing it, smirking as he does so. Behind, in the distance, the soothing colors of pastel fields flicker as marshmallow cats and dogs try to draw Herb's attention. The scarlet character outside the window watches, waiting. "Herb!" Geraldine's voice punctures Herb's distraction. This could mean a promotion, more pay, more prestige. Think about it over the weekend. Herb rattles his head, bringing himself back into the moment. "I'm sorry, Geraldine. It's been quite a week." He looks down at his hand. It looks paler than before, almost translucent under the harsh office lights. He swallows, his throat dry. "I'll get those figures to you this morning, ready for the weekend." The spreadsheet gapes at Herb. It flickers. Cells that were accurate earlier are now showing RF and other disturbing error codes that Herb has never seen before. Other cells are suddenly formatted in red, their borders animated, serpents slithering around each red cell. Herb looks out of the window across the gray sky, where trees bend and sway in the wind, and litter from the street blows up in gusts. The red-suited man peeps impishly around the corner of the window, just enough that Herb sees his menacing grin. Then he steps fully into view. Herb notices the purple snake wrapped around the man's left leg, and on his right shoulder sits a butterfly with golden-tipped wings. Somewhere in the distance, in what feels like another world, a drum within a dream, the blue and pink marshmallow creatures are trying to reach him, their little hats bobbing as they bounce over clouds. But the scarlet presence is looming closer, toying with the buttons on his red jacket, open or closed. It mouths through the glass. The butterfly flaps and the snake slithers, its purple scales gleaming, waiting for Herb to notice the fresh set of numbers along its back. As Herb closes his eyes, he finds himself at an unfamiliar crossroads. One path stretches away in soft, gentle hues. It feels familiar and safe. He can see the marshmallow creatures playing in the distance, their hats bobbing as they bound through a pastel-tinted world of sunlit clouds. They wag their tails, tweak their mustaches, urging him to join them. But they are fading, their edges blurring. In the opposite direction, shadows twist into deeper, richer colors: purple, red, gold. The air sparks with energy that Herb can't see, and the red-suited man stands, waiting, his smirk widening as he temptingly holds his jacket open, revealing an array of numbers and equations. Herb rubs his eyes, looks again in each direction. Herb is compelled by something unfathomable, but he thinks he understands. At his desk, Herb works feverishly, head down. He is focused on completing the spreadsheet for Geraldine. By lunchtime, he has succeeded in his task. Geraldine is happy. She pats the papers on her desk fondly, like a favorite pet. She'll look at them over the weekend, she tells Herb. She trusts him to have done a good job. We rejoin Herbert Truelove the following morning. It is Saturday. His tousled head emerges from beneath the bedclothes, and he greets the weekend with a yawn, blinking at the light creeping between the gap in his thin bedroom curtains. He has slept well, remarkably well, in fact. It has been the best night's sleep Herb has had in a very long time. Nowhere to be found. She's gone missing? When? Last night. I woke up this morning, and she wasn't in her bed. I thought maybe she'd gone to the bathroom, but she wasn't there either. I checked everywhere. Oh my God, Tori, did you check the backyard? Maybe she went outside to play early. Of course, I checked the backyard. I checked the whole house, top to bottom. She's not the type to just wander off, especially not to this early in the morning. Okay. Have you called the police? Not yet. I don't know. I was so panicked. I called you first. You know how they are. They'll assume the worst, that I'm a bad mother. Tori, stop. Listen to me. You need to call them now. The sooner they start looking, the better. Every second counts. You're right. I'll call them now. Good. I'll be right over. Just stay put. Thank you, Sam. I don't know what I'd do without you. Don't worry. We'll find her. Just breathe. 911. What's your emergency? My daughter. She's missing. I can't find her anywhere. Ma'am, can you give me your name and address? Victoria Brooks, 123 Main Street. And the missing person's name and age? Rose Brooks. She's 6 years old. She has long, dark hair, light brown eyes, and she was wearing her favorite pajamas, the ones with the little bunnies on them. Mrs. Brooks, we'll send someone over to take a statement. In the meantime, try not to worry. But how can I not worry? She's just a little girl. I understand, ma'am. But it's important that you stay calm and answer the officer's questions clearly. Can you do that? Yes, I'll try. Good. An officer will be there soon. Tori, it's me, Sam. Oh, thank God. I'm so glad you're here. I'm a mess. I told you I'd come. Have the police been here yet? Not yet. They said they'd send someone over soon. Did you find anything else? Any clues? Anything out of place? Nothing. It's like she just vanished into thin air. Her bed was unmade, as if she got up normally. But her favorite stuffed animal, Mr. Snuggles, is gone too. Mr. Snuggles? That's her little teddy bear, right? Yes. She never goes anywhere without him. It's strange. Maybe she took him with her. Did you check the windows? Are any of them unlocked? I don't know. I'll check. The one in the living room was unlocked, but it's too high for her to reach. Oh, God. Do you think someone took her? We don't know that yet, Tori. Let's not jump to conclusions. Maybe she climbed on a chair or something. We need to stay calm and wait for the police. Someone's at the door. I think that's them. Hello? I'm Detective Smith. You must be Mrs. Brooks. Yes, that's me. Come in. I'm here to ask you some questions about your daughter's disappearance. Of course. Anything to help find her. Can you tell me what happened last night? I put Rose to bed around 8 p.m. I read her a story, like always. She was asleep within minutes. I checked on her a few times throughout the night, and she was sound asleep. But when I woke up this morning, she was gone. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Any strange noises? Any cars outside? Anything like that? Nothing. It was a normal night. We had dinner, watched a little TV, then got ready for bed. Everything was fine. What about her father? Is he in the picture? Yes, my husband. But he's deployed overseas. And you're sure you checked everywhere in the house? Yes, I'm positive. I even checked the backyard, the shed, the basement, everywhere. Did Rose have any friends or other family she might have gone to? Anyone she might wander off to see? No, she's only 6. She doesn't have any friends outside of school, and my family lives out of state. All right, Mrs. Brooks. We're going to start our investigation and let you know if we find anything. But before we leave, we'll need to take a look around the house, if that's fine with you. Of course, Detective. Anything to help find my Rose. Thank you. And please, try to stay hopeful. We'll do everything we can to find your daughter. I appreciate that, Tori. I'm going to go check the park down the street. Rose loves playing there. Maybe she wandered off there last night. That's a good idea. I'll stay here in case the police come back. All right. I'll call you if I find anything. Be careful, Sam. Hello? Tori. It's me. I found something. What is it? Did you find Rose? No, but I found Mr. Snuggles. It was lying on the ground near the playground. Oh my God. What does that mean? I don't know, but it can't be good. I'm going to call the police and let them know. Please, hurry. I'm coming over there right now. No, Tori, wait. The police wouldn't want us to contaminate the scene. Just stay at the house. But I know, but we have to trust them. I'm calling them right now. 911. What's your emergency? Hello, Detective Smith, please. Please hold. Detective Smith speaking. Detective, it's Samantha Jones. Sam, Tori Brooks' friend. I found Rose's teddy bear, the one she always carries around. It was just lying on the ground at the neighborhood park. What? Okay, I'm on my way. Can you stay there and make sure nobody touches anything? Yes, of course. Thank you. I'll be there soon. Tori, the police are on their way to the park. They're going to search the area. Oh God, I hope they find her. I know. We just have to stay positive. I'm trying, but it's getting harder and harder. I get it. Just hang in there. They'll find something. I'm certain of it. Detective Smith, we've searched the entire park, but there's no sign of the girl. Damn it! We need to widen our search. Check all the nearby houses and businesses. See if anyone saw anything. Check security cameras. Anything. We need to find this little girl. And we're running out of time. Yes, sir. Tori. The police are widening their search. They're checking all the houses in the neighborhood, talking to people, looking at security footage. That's good, right? It means they're taking this seriously? Yes. It means they're not giving up. I hope so. I can't lose her. They'll find her, Tori. I know they will. I hope you're right. I think the police are back. Mrs. Brooks, we have some news. Is it about Rose? Did you find her? Yes, we found her. Oh my God, is she okay? Is she hurt? She's alive. But she's been through a lot. We found her in an abandoned house a few blocks from here. She was hiding in a closet. Who took her? Why? Was she hurt? We're still investigating, but we have a suspect in custody. It appears to be a case of a kidnapping gone bad. The suspect has a history of similar offenses. Rose is being checked out at the hospital, but she seems physically unharmed. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe someone would do this. I understand. It's a terrible thing. But the important thing is that Rose is alive. Can I see her? Yes, of course. She's at the hospital right now. We'll take you there. Thank you, Detective. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Mrs. Brooks. We're just glad we could bring your daughter home. Rose! Mommy! Mrs. Brooks. I'm so glad Rose is okay. Me too. I can't believe this nightmare is finally over. I know it's been a long day, but it's a happy ending. Yes, it is. A very happy ending, but frightening nevertheless. We need to get you both home. But first, we'll need to speak with Rose. Detective, Rose has been through a lot. Could we do this tomorrow? Perhaps you could stop by the house around noon. Sure, I understand. I'll have an officer drive you all home. Thank you. And in the meantime, I'm never letting her out of my sight again. I think that's a good idea. Birthday, fear, and marriage. A toast, she exclaimed, holding up her shot, waiting for the others to follow suit. The two men held up their drinks, clinking and laughing. Happy birthday, she yelled unusually loud. I'm sure the whole bar heard her. The birthday man had the biggest smile, looking happy, appreciative, nostalgic, if nostalgic had a look. He had his head cocked to one side, his whole face lit up, but his eyes were deep and distant. The small bistro table reached up to their chests. Even though the bar was dimly lit, displaying the usual neon beer signs and overhead Pabst Blue Ribbon bar lights, I could still see her cheery outfit. A green sequins top, black jeans, and sandals. She had on those antenna headbands sporting springy shamrocks. They bounced around on her head as she talked and laughed. She looked cute for the beginning of spring and St. Patrick's Day, and that thought sent an electrifying pang through me. The guys beside her had green t-shirts, a typical guy effort. The rest of the bar was a steady buzz of clinking, laughter, and the occasional loud outburst of people becoming intoxicated. "I'll be right back," said the girl's voice enthusiastically as she hopped down from her seat and headed towards the ladies' room. Her blouse reflected the lighting, and she appeared to glide away, her long, dark hair trailing behind. The guys chopped it up, patting each other on the back and carrying on like teens. Brothers? Or father and son? I couldn't recall, but they looked slightly alike. Then I remembered that the big guy had an older brother, so this one must have been his son. "I got another round," the girl in green declares excitedly. She puts down 3 green beer mugs and returns to retrieve 3 shot glasses. I didn't see her leave the women's restroom and felt annoyed. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss a move. I feel a splash on my wrist, and a tall guy with dark hair and light eyes, who must be 10 years younger than me, is smiling at me. "I'm so sorry," he says. "I didn't mean to bump your table." I lick off the alcohol from my wrist, and he smiles wider. "Can I get you another?" "Sure," I say. "A kamikaze, please." He leaves and returns with drinks for both of us. We engage in small talk, but the conversation takes a twist. It starts to get deep, past relationships and family. And finally, he asks, "Are you single?" "I am," I say. "It's only been 3 months, but I feel so free now." "I know what you mean," he concurs. "I've been single for about a year now." Just then, the DJ blasts the perfect dance song, and we look at each other and get up to dance. It is so much fun, I think. I enjoy the sweaty feeling from dancing as my hair sticks to my face and neck. The pheromones in the air with the slight alcohol buzz, the way the room swirls in the dimness, and the vibe of happiness and opportunity in the bar. My body feels like it is moving exactly how I want it to. I feel sexy and elated. After a 25-minute set, we make our way back to the table. The girls I came with are in their corners, talking to their catches of the day. I didn't come for any of this, but I was glad it found me. He walks over to the bar to get us another round, and I bite my lip as I see his arms flex and reach into his pocket for his wallet. He's cute, my type, and he can carry a conversation. He's not an idiot, I muse. As he walks back towards me, I avert my eyes, acting like I wasn't watching him. But then I see Shamrock Girl. She is hugging the big guy, and the one I assume is the son comes in for a group hug. They hold on to each other, appearing like a tight-knit unit. She must be the sister, I decide. I've heard that the big guy has a sister. A kiss near my lip. He's back. My flirty side goes in for a small nibble. He smiles directly into my eyes, and I can tell I got him. "That's so sexy," he glows, after unleashing the shy girl act, engaging in intelligent conversation, being interested in all he says, and validating his masculine gestures, classic flirting. I arrive at the next step, teasing. It's not as calculated as it sounds. It comes naturally to me, and I could teach a class as good at it as I am at it. I stare at him as I sip my drink. There is a commotion at the Shamrock Girls' table. A group of guys and a couple of girls come in, high-fiving and hugging the 3 family members. I hear loud, "Happy birthdays," and there is camaraderie. It's a celebratory moment. I've had enough! I didn't come for this. I stand up, grab my jacket, which feels heavier than usual, and tell my cutie I need to find my friends. He looks disappointed, and I am struggling to keep my composure. My chest starts to feel tight, and my stomach starts to turn. I feel my heart beating faster, and my hands begin to shake. I feel sadness, then resolve, then the anger. I became blind. I walk to the Shamrock Girls' table and stand directly before her. My eyes are hard, and I stare at her. She stops talking, and her face straightens. The big guy, the killer, sucks in his breath. Must be nice, I utter. Must be nice to have a brother to celebrate his birthday with. My voice becomes louder and colder. She doesn't say anything. The surrounding people begin to look towards us. I snatch her hair with exceptional force and yank her face to the table. It is then the rage takes over. I fucking hate you! I scream at her. I hate you, I say to the big guy, attempting to reach for his sister. I pull the small, sharpened, handheld spear I carry and jab it into his hand. He yells and pulls his hand back. It is dawning on her who I am. She thought 25 years ago was long forgotten. The big guy thought it was behind him. He felt he paid his price for killing my brother, his classmate, and his childhood friend. But he didn't. I didn't get to serve my justice. I'm screaming viciously at everyone who is attempting to reach for me. I look like a rat cornered, trying to find a way out. In the corner of my eye, I see my cutie. He doesn't look shocked. He is slightly smiling at me. Let me do this! I scream. I raise my other hand with my spear and see myself driving it into her temple as I hold her down with my other hand by her hair. No, don't, was the only muffled words I heard from her. Screams ensue as I graze her head and stab the table. I plunge over and over on the wooden table beside her head until the adrenaline starts to subside. I realize the music has stopped and the whole bar is watching. The big guy was stunned, but he didn't restrain me. He let me do it, as I asked. He's holding his hand. He mouths, "I'm sorry," as the bar begins to fade into black. I feel someone's arms gently touching my shoulders, and my shoulders start to cave in. I slowly release my grip on her hair and let my hand fall onto my jacket. Her face, smeared with tears and sweat, looks at me as she backs away. It's my cutie's arms. He guides me away, enveloping me with his body for protection. He moves me through the crowd. My hand feels the metal of the gun, the one I bought a couple of years after the big guy killed my brother in an attempt to curb my fear of guns. It remained in its case for over 20 years. I was still afraid of them. The topic came up in my deep conversation with the cutie I met. I told him my plan. He must have thought I was joking, but he was keen when it rolled out like the scenario I painted. As he walked me out of the building, I could hear my friends calling after me. I ignored them and got into my cutie's car. He shut my door and held me. Still feeling numb, we drove to the city. Halfway there, we started opening up again, talking like we had known each other for years. Nothing ever came of that night. Not one thing. There was no police report, and no one ever brought it up. It's almost as if it never happened. I ended up marrying my cutie. He is my soulmate, and I felt complete. A few years later, the feeling came again. I felt the stirring. I began formulating another way to get her. I'd send in my cousin to seduce her, make her fall in love, then break her heart. She needs a broken heart like mine, like a thief in the night. I'm here. The key is under the welcome mat. The alarm is off, and Reuben is at the kennel. Should be no issue getting inside. Neighbors? Out of town. What time does John arrive home? He's working late, then going to the gym. You have time. For your sake, you best be right. I'm not looking to go back in the pen for some petty crime bullshit. Just get the file off the computer. Easy. Easy. Then why haven't you done it yourself? You know why. Yeah, we know. Are you in yet? Yes. The office is down the hall and to the left. Don't turn on the lights. I'm not a fucking amateur. Shit. What is it? What happened? Nothing. Just some asshole left boots lying in the middle of the hallway. John isn't the best housekeeper. Really, you don't. He keeps his other laptop in the third drawer. Got a problem. What? It's locked. Got a key? No, but he's not that creative. Look around the desk. It's gotta be around somewhere. Gum wrappers, crumpled Post-its, pile of receipts. This guy is a hoarder. I know, but he's the only way in. Yeah, so you've said? Listen, the boss doesn't take kindly to liars. No lies. This is legit. Your funeral. You're a funny guy. You know that? Now shut up and find the key. I said you had time, but let's not chance it. Seems to me I'm taking all the chances. Once you find what we need, I'll give credit where credit is due. Think I found something? Is it the key? Does it work? Got it. But we have another problem. What problem? Just open the laptop and find the file listed as hobby. There is no laptop. Drawer is empty. Shit. He must have it. Why on earth would he take that shit to work with him? Think he's onto you? Nah, I'm the least of his worries. Better think of another way. Boss isn't a patient guy. I know. Just give me a minute to think. Shit, this was the best way. We don't have a minute. We got company. No, can't be John. He's still at work. Sure about that? Positive? His tracker says he's sitting at his shitty cubicle as we speak. We're good. False alarm. Just some idiot lost and used the driveway to turn around. Fuck, man. You had me worried. Look, here's what you're going to do. First, need you to lock the door, then break a window. I'll arm the alarm. He'll get the call and come home. Wait him out. When you seize the opportunity, get the laptop. I could just kill him. No, you can't just kill him. What are you talking about? Just stick to the plan. Hide, get the laptop, find the file, and get out. Never good at hiding, but I'll see what I can do. The door is locked, ready for the broken window. Say when. When? Hell. What happened? Cut my fucking hand. You wearing gloves? Can't just be leaving blood all over the place. That's how people get caught, asshole. I'm not an amateur. Of course, I have gloves on. Been doing this longer than you've been alive, you snot-nosed yuppie. Just keep your trap shut. Shit, the alarm didn't go off. What a damn surprise. Another problem. Just a sec. I need to shut off the power and reset it. Stop fucking telling me and just do it. All right. Get ready to cover your ears. 3, 2, 1. Aw, fuck, that's loud. Hide. Turn that shit off. I can't. John needs to be notified. Hurry up! I'm going fucking deaf here. Hold on. You hold on, you asshole. Alarm is blaring through my fucking eardrums. When I get a hold of you, no one will recognize you. I'm going to take my fucking time. My knife will dull and need sharpening between breaks. All right, John is on the move. Shut it off. The company will in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to kill you. Don't forget to hide. I'm in the closet already. Ran in here after the alarm went off. John is en route. Fantastic. So, boss is calling. Going to join him on the call. Boys, we have the file yet? Not yet, boss. What's the holdup? This entire operation is a total fuck-up. This yuppie has us chasing our tails. He's a fucking liar. I'm not lying. The file exists. How was I to know he would bring the laptop with him? He's been your mark for months. Gentlemen, enough. I want that file. Yuppie and my guy is the best. No one better to lift sensitive material than him. Guide him best you can and let him do his job. Yes, sir. Yes, boss. Good. Talk to you boys soon. You are such an asshole, yuppie. Me? You're the one trying to get me killed? Oh, I'm not trying. I'm going to kill you. You'll forget all about maiming me when you get that file. Not maim, kill. As in murder. Yeah? Well, that will have to wait, because John has arrived. I'll just kill him. No, just be patient. He's in the house. Remember the plan. Wait him out. Once you see an opportunity, take it. We can't leave here without the file. I don't know how I ever got tied up in this. I mean, you get a little behind in your bets, and next thing you know, You're babysitting some asswipe for the boss and breaching intel. The file is there. I know it is. He just went in the bathroom, and the shower is kicked on. I'm taking my shot. Don't kill him. Wait. Shit. I'm a dead man if we don't get that file. I have a sure thing in play, about to make a huge payoff. This can't be the end for me. Got the laptop. Looking for the file now. It's named Hobby. Go it. Transferring. 30%, 50%, 75%, 90%, 100%. We got it in the clear, yuppie. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Don't thank me. I'm still leaning towards killing you. More importantly, I need to get this file to the boss, who will be pleased to own hard evidence against this freak. Good job, yuppie. You may just live after all. I suggest you no longer take bets. Hell, get out of the game altogether, or else the boss may find more work for you. And if you don't deliver next time, I'll see you at the funeral. Goodbye, for now. Wait, don't hang up. Aw, yuppie. Gonna miss me? Don't sweat it, kid. What was that? Sounded like a gunshot. Did you shoot him? What's going on? Talk to me. Hello, Charlie. Hello, John. The betrayal. The door to the kitchen flew open and hit the side of the refrigerator with a loud thud. Cold air rushed in. You rotten bitch. I trusted you. Brock McCarthy stood in the doorway with his shoulders squared and fists clenched. How could you do that to me? His nostrils flared as he shook his head. Stunned, Clara Simmons gasped when she heard the commotion. After she regained her composure, she bristled at the hateful accusation. She placed the half-empty dinner plate she was holding in the sink. Staring into his brown eyes, she asked, "What the hell are you talking about?" After 2 years of living together, she knew Brock's temper. But this deranged outburst was worse than usual. You know damn well what I'm talking about. My secret. I told you never to tell anyone about that shit. I didn't say anything to anybody. Her words were unhurried, but emphatic. You had to tell somebody something. When I went to the back door after work, all the guys started busting my balls, dropping hints, talking shit like they knew things. All of them acted like they knew something. And you're the only one I talked to about that shit. Brock unzipped his black leather jacket and draped it on the back of a kitchen chair. Why did you do it? You're nuts. Or you're drunk. I didn't say anything. They glared at each other as a chilling silence gradually filled the room. Hell, I'm not even close to being drunk. I had to leave the bar before I could finish my pitcher. It was impossible to tell what Brock was more agitated about, leaving cold beer or defending himself against the swirling speculations about his hidden, checkered past. Did you bother to ask how your drinking buddies heard about your precious secret? Her voice was soft, as if asking a child if they had finished their homework. I didn't have to. Damn it. You are the only one who knows. With unhurried steps, Clara walked around the kitchen table pulling on the back of the chair. The faint scraping of the wooden legs against the linoleum broke the quiet, like fingernails on a chalkboard. She took a seat and cast her gaze towards her angry boyfriend. That's not exactly true. She paused as their eyes momentarily locked. Is it? The tone of her now controlled voice was made bitter by a toxic mix of scorn and controlled rage. Those women know. After a long pause to emphasize her point, she said, "Trust me, they really know." Like air escaping from a balloon, Brock's body went limp. Without making a sound, he fell into the chair across from her, searching her face for a clue about her intentions. Look, you chose to tell me about your twisted secret. It was your choice. Clara's voice was cold. And I haven't told a soul since. But now I'm wondering what else you might be hiding. Wait, that's not fair. Fair? Fair? You have the balls to mention fair to me? That's laughable. You bust in here and accuse me of betraying you without a shred of evidence. I've always told you everything. Brock reached up and scratched the scruffy hair on his face. I didn't have to tell you about the women and what happened? But I did. And now you expect me to carry the same guilt? Clara adjusted her glasses. No, of course not. It's not guilt, exactly. Not really. It's more like, I don't know how to explain it. They sat listening to the faint sound of the small clock on the oven, ticking away the minutes, like the shattered pieces of their failing relationship. Absent-mindedly, Clara used her thumb to wipe the pepper dust off the shaker sitting in the middle of the table. Do you think one of the women, moved here? He took a long time to answer, as if he hated the power of what truth might do to him. It's possible. He bit the inside of his cheek a few times while he thought. Clara leaned back in her chair. So, what will you do? I mean, if you see one of them? She stifled a yawn as her composure returned. There's another possibility. What if one of those women sent their boyfriend to find you? Like a trapper beating the bushes to get the snakes to show where they're hiding. Brock twisted his face into a scowl after he deciphered her meaning. Crap. He leaned back into his chair. He sat silent for a long moment. I've never even thought about that. It was always a slim possibility, I guess. Well, I think you had better start thinking about that possibility, because I never said a word to anyone, ever. Why would I? Brock pursed his lips and folded his arms in resignation. Holy shit. What are we going to do now? We? Are you seriously thinking this problem is a we thing? I didn't have anything to do with that shit. I wasn't there. I don't even know who they are. This is your ugly history, not mine. Always has been. I thought we were a couple. I thought we were, getting serious. Brock's voice conveyed desperation. "Oh yeah, that was before you came in here and blamed me for something I didn't do. I don't think I want to stick around to see what else you might blame me for. No, babe, wait. You can't do that. Really, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." Well, I guess you should have thought about that before you shoved open the kitchen door with a heart full of hate. I went from bitch to babe in 5 minutes, and I don't want to see how long it'll take next time. She placed her hands flat on the table. Calmly, she rose and ambled across the kitchen towards the bedroom. Stopping halfway, she turned and said, "I don't want to become another secret in your long history of betrayals. Where I come from, love is all about trust. And you just lost mine. And now you're losing me." She turned and went into the bedroom and slammed the door. Silent, but deadly, the grass waves to the breath-filled song of the wind. No, wait, that doesn't sound quite right. Maybe just the voice of the wind. The luscious grass dances as the wind sings. Something like that anyway. I look around me, casually, like I'm taking in the view, and not at all looking for a sudden change in the landscape that would signal my end. Should I admit that I'm scared? I'd be mad not to. But then this is madness. I'm narrating my life because my life actually depends on it. The moment I go quiet, it'll come for me. I know that much. Sneaky bollocks, tricking people into being quiet when that's how it finds them. I still don't get that. What form of creature finds its prey via silence? I thought it might hate sound, but no one is quiet in their final moments. And it doesn't seem fazed by the screaming. I shouldn't talk about that. Difficult to filter, though. I can't stop the words coming out. The words are my shield. All I have to do is think of things to say as I walk these next few fields, and then I'll be in the next village, and I can find a radio, or just something, anything, to make some noise for me. Then I can sleep. I am so tired. Wait a minute. What if I yawn? Does a yawn count? Or will I be interrupting the flow of sound that protects me? I can't fall or hit a limb against anything, nor can I snag myself on an errant nail. Errant. Where did that come from? I've noticed that my language is getting more flowery. That's good. I don't have to find quite so many words. They're flowing out from me, as though the tap in my mind has been turned a little more. I never knew I had a tap in my mind. This'll do. I can manage this. And I need to stay on top of it, conscious of the stream. I don't want to get carried away and pause in a fog of confusion. I could say any old words. I could do that, but I think I'd go mad as I stirred that crazy word salad around. And then, where would I be? I need to keep it together. Find somewhere to sit it out. Surround myself with a wall of sound. And then sleep seems a world away. I'd need someone with me, so we could take it in turns to sit watch. Would that work? Would a radio even work? Does it work if the noise isn't coming from you? Does the quality of the sound make a difference? A voice that comes from a mouth is different to one that comes via a speaker. Am I kidding myself? Does it matter that I'm kidding myself? I've made it this far, and that's pretty good. I had safety in numbers for a while back there. It's about survival now. I'm on my own. I've got to keep going. Buy myself time. The creatures might not even be here anymore. Moved on to easier pickings. I don't believe that for a moment. You're still there, aren't you guys? Watching and waiting. All I have to do is pause these words of mine, and you'll be skipping out to meet me in the middle of this damn field. I'd say that you don't see them coming. That's not quite right. It's that when you do see them coming, you're done for. Game over. What little warning you have is useless. A blur of movement. Pain. Gone. You can't outrun what you can't see. They don't move like anything on this earth. There's no approach, no stalking. They come from nowhere, and the more I think about it, I do think they come from some other dimension. They just appear as though they can pass through gaps in space-time that we can't see. Could they be demons? That makes more and more sense to me. Come to snatch our souls away. Consume us. The end of days. No one thought it would look like this, sound like this. Do our voices cover another sound? The beating of our hearts? Or is it really the sound of our silence that beckons them forth? I'm searching for answers where I think there are likely none. That's what we do, though, isn't it? We search for answers. We walk into a room we've never been in before, and we wonder what the hell it all is. Thankfully, rooms have conventions, like bloody walls and a sodding floor and a buggering ceiling, crappy sofas if it's a living room, a shitty cooker, and an arsehole fridge if it's a kitchen, a bastard bed if it's a... What the hell has happened here? It looks the same, but it's entirely different. I loved walking through these fields. Now it's all painted in violent death. Everyone's violent death. My violent death. I don't want to die. Not like this. But what makes me different? What makes me so special that I think I can evade the fate of everyone else? I'd laugh if this wasn't so serious. I don't think I'll ever laugh again. At least it's quick. It seems quick, anyway. Oh, what if they drag you through those invisible gaps? What if the pain goes on beyond what I have seen? Why do my thoughts go there? Think happy thoughts. Why is the bloody happy cupboard bare? I wish we lived by the sea. That would be nice. I wonder whether they can follow you over the water. I hope not. I hope there are places that they can't go. I hope they eventually give up. They won't, though, will they? Would we? Perhaps they're aliens, or a lab experiment gone wrong. Doesn't matter, though, does it? If my nemesis introduced himself as Norman, shook my hand, and did me the courtesy of telling me what he was, where he came from, and why he and his mates were wreaking violent and bloody murder across the planet, it doesn't change the important bit, does it? I'm not going to smile and tell him that that's all right then. I suppose it would give me the opportunity for a moment of defiance. I could tell Norman, the planet conqueror, to bugger off. You know what? I can do that anyway, can't I? I can shout my defiance at this new world of Normans. I might not have the final word, but I'll have given him what for. Might even feel good, if only for the duration of my shouting. Yeah, I'm going to do it. What have I got to lose? I'm going to lose anyway, so may as well go for it. Tell you what, Norman, I'm going to primal scream it. I'm going to dig deep down and bring my ancient part to the fore. We are animals, after all. A force to be reckoned with. And I don't give a shit if I lose my voice doing it. I will keep talking afterwards in any case. You're not getting me like that, you sneaky little bastard. Here goes. Bugger off, Norman. Yeah. Wow. Hey, what was that? I can still see it. A gap. Norman! I shouted, a gap open. That's why you don't like our voices. Our voices are our power. Oh yes, of course they are. This changes everything. Yes. I'm going to bring it to you, Normie baby. I'm going through that gap of yours, and I'm going to shout your whole house down. What else is there? I can't keep this talk up. You'll get me in the end if I keep running away. But if I bring it to you and shout you down, that might just do it. I'm coming for you, Norm. And we're going to talk it out. Just you and me. Then, when we're done, I'll tell all your friends. I've got hope now, Norman. Hope and a plan. Best of all, I have belief. That makes me dangerous. We're not sheep. We were never sheep. We're not even wolves. We're different, and we're difficult. We're magic, Norman. And my words are a spell you are not going to break. Coming, whether you're ready or not. Who was it then? Friday night. Mary, a 24-year-old girl, tired from job, was going to her childhood bestie, Julia. Julia and I studied in the same class, murmured Mary, sitting in Metropolitan. God, God, I can't believe this is happening. I am going to meet my best friend after 9 years. I am full of tears," said Mary, with eyes full of tears in her eyes. Actually, these tears were symbolizing her happiness and grief at the same time. She was remembering the moments spent with her Julia. "Hey, miss, can we talk, if you don't mind?" questioned Mary from a young lady in front of her. The young lady was surprised that a girl wanted to share her feelings in an excitement. She could not stop herself from knowing the reason behind her excitement. "Yeah, of course," replied the young lady. "Myself, Mary. I am 24 and work for Walmart. Just got a weekend free for myself. I am just going to meet my childhood bestie named Julia. I still remember the days we bunked up classes together, the way we jumped in the playground, enjoyed the lunch together, stole food of other classmates, and ruined the notebooks to be checked by teachers." Ha ha. Mary spoke out all of this in breathless. But wait, she started crying while laughing. What was it? Wondered the young lady. She asked the reason that why she became suddenly sad. Mary replied, "She was always in a gloomy mood in the morning. Her dad used to beat her mom a lot. She was from Islam. She used to tell me that her dad did not allow her mom to stand, even by the window of balcony. Slapped her mom without telling any reason. Always in a hurry of money for drinking alcohol. One day, her mom refused to give money for it. As a result, her dad broke a leg of her mom. She became very upset on that day. I advised many times to her that she should encourage her mom for divorce. But she said that mom will never agree upon it. On the day she told me about her mom's broken leg, I did not know that it would be the last day to see her in the school. After that, she never came. Just this is the story of ours." "Ah, that was such a sad ending," wondered the young lady. "So now you are finally going to meet up your bestie, right?" asked the young lady. "Yes," replied Mary. The young lady asked her that. From where did Mary got her friend's address? Mary told that she went to her friend's old address, and the neighbors told that the family has shifted to Newtown B. "Ah, just 2 kms away, and my destination will be right there. I am coming, Julia," spoke Mary. The young lady asked her many other questions, like why did Mary wait for so many years? Mary told that she became busy in her busy and boring life. Also, she answered her many other questions. Now, it was the time when Station was finally going to be there. The young lady could not stop herself from getting off with Mary. She actually wanted to know about many other things, and also wanted to know that how does her friend and family look now. She decided to go with Mary to Julia's home. When they both finally arrived at their destination, Mary knocked the door. A man aged about 70 to 72 opened the door. Mary ran to the house and started shouting, "Julia! Oh, my Julu! Julie, where are you? I have arrived. Now don't play hide and seek." The old man spoke. "What rubbish! What the hell is it?" Julia was my wife. She died 40 years ago in a car accident with her mom. Mary replied, "I am not joking. I know her since childhood. She could not be dead, and she was young, not that much aged. We played just 9 years ago. She told me everything happened to her mom." Mary told all the information and story about Julia to that old man. The old man shocked and cried with tears that the story was real. He went to his old suitcase and got a very old album of Julia's birth to marriage pictures. He showed it to both the ladies. They got extremely shocked. The old man said, "One day, she was drunk from a party. She was driving to get back to home with her mom, and I was waiting for her at the dinner with my brother and his wife. The car just crashed the huge truck, and after that, she died. Her mom was in coma. But Julia was not anymore. She left all of us with that heartbreaking feeling." Julia's story is exactly matching to the story of her mom's weasel life. I don't know. Where did you got this information? From the kids? It's been 40 years. She is dead, but I always try to feel her presence. But she never came in my dream, not even a single time. I don't know how to meet her. I just want to get that soon. I hope this is possible as soon as possible. I'm just waiting for my death each day. Actually, yeah, it is true that her childhood was really very bad. Her dad used to be her mom. Without any reason, didn't allow her to move outside with freedom. Once he broke her leg as well. And after that, her mom became handicapped. Julie met me, and we were married. We were actually good friends in college. After we got married, her dad was dead. Her mom shifted to us. They both were actually happy, but she never could forgive her. That because her dad had ruined her mom and her childhood. The flood got out of their feet that how could this happen? Mary was shocked that the story was true, and Julie's face was the same. But how could this be like that? She was an old lady, already dead, and wondered that what about the girl she played with all the time? All of the three started crying, and the young lady was very frightened. She tremblingly said, "Who was it then?" Memory of the future. Ed is looking down the cliff, watching the waves crashing on the beach, same place he was when his baby brother went missing. His parents never spoke of it, like he never had a sibling. It is a summer night. Goes inside for dinner. No one says a word, same as usual. Ed does the dishes. His dad buries himself on the couch in front of the TV, and Mom goes to her room. Another boring evening at the Wallaces. Maybe all the answers to all of our questions are out there in the dark forest. Ed pushes aside a twig from a tree with his left hand to look ahead. It is so dark. He knows he is naked. Why would he? He wonders. It is freezing. Now he is elsewhere, in front of a shed. On the other side, he simply knows there are 3 beings, which could pass off as triplets, all looking the same, except the one in the middle seems to be a female. They are facing the wall that takes to the woods. Their oval heads are almost a triangle with a pointy chin. The nipples of the both males have a pyramidal shape. The females are round. The 3 of them appear to be wearing a silvery overall, orange latex gloves up to their elbows, some work boots. Only those aren't brown or black, but in the same silvery tone. Or are they? Their actual feet. They got only 2 toes, the eyes completely white, no pupils or lids, and pointy ears, like they were elves from a fairy tale. They seem to albinos, the skin so white. They are staring at Ed like the shed was gone. He can also see them clearly. The walls appear invisible. Ed doesn't know what to do. No matter, though, because he suddenly realizes even if he wanted to move or scream or run, he couldn't. They wouldn't let him. Ed is back in bed. Was it a dream? Whatever it was, he can tell inside that shed there was a time machine. A young boy went there every night to build it, so he could get back the girl that ditched him. He was too. A lone one. Ed goes to school like it's any other day. Does not pay attention in classes. He looks out the window and sees the boy that built the time machine. He is a mysterious one, skipping stones at some lake. Back home, Ed is sitting on the grass, next to the cliff, still with those 3 beings on his mind. He wonders who they were and where. Where did they come from and why? What could they possibly want with him? Ed takes a shower, same as every afternoon. After he is done with his homework, and before they have dinner, he is finished cleaning up, and water is running down his body. He goes to open the curtain to get out, but he opens some kind of vortex. He can see a galaxy light years away. In the middle, a throne with a Nordic woman with her child in her arms. As soon as he looks into the woman's eyes, he's back in his bathroom, all silent at the table, barely looks at his plate during dinner, let alone touching his food. His parents eat and leave, as usual. His thoughts still on that woman and the throne and those 3 beings he saw the other night. Once on his bed, pulls the sheets up to cover his body, and something gets his attention. There is a huge man on the corner. both hands hugging his knees, showing some concern on his face. Wearing a robe and sandals, must be at least 13 feet tall. Turns around and looks into Ed's eyes. Ed wonders what troubles the giant. The boy that built the time machine pops into both their heads, or into the man's. But Ed can see it clearly, as if he himself was seeing the boy, carrying a box with tools, walking to the shed every night. He must have really loved that girl. Ed is certain he wasn't dreaming when he saw the giant, and neither is he now. The boy has been going to the cemetery in the middle of the night for several weeks, desecrating more than a few graves. Now he's put together a body from parts of some of the corpses he's dug up. And next to the body, he's put a photo of the girl who left him, in the hopes that some part of her essence will enter the empty vessel. As some modern Frankenstein, he intends to give life to the body by means of electricity. Ed sees himself pulling the lever, but before he can find out if it worked, if the body is alive, he appears to jump through time. Now Ed is in 1978, June 6th, almost the 7th, as he looks at his watch and it's 11:50 p.m. The date he sees in a page of a journal flying by, carried out by the wind. He is in a city destroyed by a nuclear war, which never happened. Not in this reality, anyway. Ed sees the boy jumping through time and space once again. What was once a bouquet of flowers rests next to a long forgotten grave. That is all we can expect in life. When we go, our loved ones will mourn us and cry for some time, recalling memories with us, but not too long. They learn to move on and leave us behind, to forget. Ed just knows the boy was never born, not in this reality. The boy just wanted peace and kept himself from being born. There is no grave, no tomb, no resting place for the boy. He is now at peace, wherever he may be. From out of nowhere, a girl appears. As white as snow, her skin is, dark as ebony, her long hair. There is no exit for her. She's on the edge of the precipice, a man getting closer, no options left. To live or to be free, that's the end of the road for the girl. She jumps to her own demise, feeling like she cab-flied for a few seconds, and then the sea. She turns into sea foam. She appears to be floating on the ocean, feeling but peace and quiet. Another man comes into the scene. He was on the beach and comes to the girl. He looks into her blue eyes. Suddenly, it is Ed looking into those eyes, and then it's the firmament and the cold space. It starts raining, and Ed can see the drops falling to floor, and the tombs, the cemetery again. The abandoned and long-forgotten grave's tombstone reads, Carola Duval. Was it all a dream? Is Ed wondering when he starts an astral travel? Feels himself leaving his body, only it's not him, but a boy he's seen before, somewhere in dreams. perhaps. Ed sees the boy getting back in his body as three tall beings with elephant-like skin stand next to him. Those beings have rat-gray skin, huge black eyes, no iris or retina, just pupil, no nose, no mouth, oval heads. The boy covers his head with the sheets, hoping they will leave soon. Now Ed finds himself in his own room, his head covered, those beings next to him. Through the sheets, he can see blue lights and begins floating above his bed. And now he is the one hoping they leave. Ed wakes up a little dizzy and having no idea what that all was. When did they leave? Did they do something to him? He takes a shower, gets downstairs, and grabs a glass with orange juice and goes to school. Again, he pays no attention to his class or classmates. During lunch, sitting with his friends, they are all laughing and talking, and he's just gone. He remembers when the last pandemic happened. He dreamed of a guy meeting three shadowy figures. Never gave it much thought, but now he wonders if that was a dream at all. And is it somehow related to what he's been seeing in dreams? "Are you here?" asks his mom, when once again he hasn't touched his food. He's playing with his fork and some peas. He found himself staring at a girl in some Greek ruins. Ed goes to bed early. He is staring at the ceiling, not thinking of anything. He doesn't even notice when he falls asleep. Or is he? Through the corner of his right eye, he sees three green-skinned beings, 4 feet tall, tops. They were there a second before. Now, they're gone. It is 3:15 a.m. and he falls asleep once more. He is just a child, 4, 5 years old, playing in the park, his mom holding his baby brother's hand. Now his mom goes to the ice cream truck while he watches his brother. It is now late and dark, all three of them walking home. His dad is there, waiting for them, and those three eye beings in front of them, his baby brother, they take with them. And his parents never talked about him again, like he never existed. He didn't exist, not in this reality anyway. The female being speaks, or rather, prints it on Ed's mind. They do not move their mouths. "Your brother has a bigger fate," speaks the being on the left. "How can you?" asks Ed inside his head. "We can see your thoughts," says the being on the right. "And you can see ours," adds the one on the left. "You had no sibling in this life. That's a memory of another reality," said the female. "And now he's here again, looking down the cliff, watching the waves crashing on the beach. Same place he was when his baby brother went missing. Or at least, that's what Ed would remember. The levee. This is bullshit. It doesn't take 2 of us to guard this levee. Nothing's going to happen, especially not this time of night in the pouring rain. Don't know why we have to stand outside rather than sit in the cab. Could see just as bad from in than out. You just drove in today. Go ahead and get some sleep in the deuce. You look like shit. You look like shit. Nah. Remember, I'm kinda local. I got to sleep in my old bed at my mom's place last night. Go. Okay. Thanks, man. Yeah, whatever. Stop. Who's there? This levee is under the supervision of the National Guard. Turn around and return the way you came. Sorry, young man, but we can't do that. We don't want trouble, but we gotta do this. It's the only way. Mr. Hicks. What's your tag there, say? Adams? Which one of the Adams boys are you? Rick. Sir, I'm Rick. Who's with you? Just me and my dad, son. Just me and him. Why don't you put that gun down? Old Pops is with you? What are you two doing here? Let's just put that gun down, son. We'll explain. I can't do that, sir. Especially not with you holding that shotgun. You two need to stop bickering like old hens before I drop this box. That wouldn't be good for any of us. What's in the box? Dynamite. Dynamite? What the hell, Pops? Why are you bringing dynamite out here? Mr. Hicks? It's the only way, Ricky. The only way we don't lose everything. I don't understand. We gotta blow the levee before we lose everything. Our farm is set to get flooded out completely. I can't let you do that. I'm really sorry about the farm, but I can't let you do that. I've got orders to shoot, if necessary. We have to protect this levee. You wouldn't shoot me, would you, Ricky? After I coached you all those years in Little League and Pee Wee? I'm the one who coached the high school to state the year you won that fancy scholarship and hightailed it out of town. Come on now, let us through. No, I'm sorry. But you're talking about saving 1 or 2 farms. On the other side of this levee, there are over 50 homes with young families, with little kids asleep in their beds. Bullpucky boy, we heard the evacuation orders for the whole area on the radio. Ain't nobody there. They were even going to evacuate the old folks' home. This one keeps trying to put me in. We waited 2 days. Everybody should be gone. We ain't no murderers. That's exactly what you're about to be. If you've been listening, you know that evacuation didn't happen. My grandmother's down there right now, and all those families. What Amy's do you mean down didn't happen there? What? You said you've been listening to the radio. Well, power went out a bit after the evacuation orders were first announced. What do you mean it didn't happen? The levee up toward Summitburg on the other branch failed. It took out the island bridge. They can't evacuate. You said aim. Your gran is down at the old folks' home. Why didn't your ma bring her home? She should be home. Kara never did like your gran much. Figures she left her there. Your father is rolling in his grave. Hey, we tried Pops. She refused to leave. She insisted she can still help. Stubborn as a mule. That's your gran. Help with what, for God's sake? Just before the bridge went down, the med center went under. They saw that coming and had already evacuated everyone. Doc and a couple of nurses threw everything they could in the ambulance and set up in the nursing home. It's now the only medical facility in 3 counties. The Emergency Services Center went under, too. Grandma's running triage and dispatch from the night nurse station. Yup. That's definitely something she could do in her sleep. She was a Spitfire Army nurse, then spent probably 30 years running that dispatch before retiring. Well, holy. But our farm? Bill, hush. Private. Have your engineer types checked out this levee? Is it going to hold if it keeps raining like this? They're not sure. There's some work supposed to happen tomorrow if this rain lets up a bit, but it's mostly wait and see. You got a radio, private? One I can reach your gran on? I'm supposed to keep it on the guard channel. Just for a minute. No one will know it was your radio, and not a personal one. Please. Okay. Here, Amy Adams. You there, sweetheart? It's Hank. Hank Hicks. You get off this emergency channel. This is for business. Just one quick ask, hun. Can you get word out for anyone willing to come by my place and drive the cows from the dairy barn across the road into the hills? I'm not there, and it's going to flood in real quick. My grandson, Mike, worked for you last summer. He's right here. I'll send him and anyone he thinks can help. Thank you, sweetheart. I gotta go. Dad, what was that about? We can be back in plenty of time to drive the cows out ourselves. If it even comes to that. Oh, it's come to that. Come on, Bill. We've got a levee to blow up. What do you mean, Pops? No, Dad. No. We'll lose everything. More than everything. What are you guys talking about? I'm talking about taking some of the pressure off this here levee to make sure your gran and all those folks stay safe. What are you talking about? He's talking about blowing the private levee in our back pasture. Flash flooding the whole farm. Darn right I am. Let's go. No! We can deal with some flooding, but that would wipe out everything. Son, it is still my farm, not yours. We'll lose crops. We'll lose equipment. We might well lose buildings too. But the land ain't going nowhere. And with the cows up in the hills, there'll still be a herd. You can use all the different property and crop and equipment insurance money to rebuild with all the fancy modern thingamabobs you keep going on about. Insurance. Dad, why the hell were we up here meaning to blow up this levee if we have insurance? I ain't never made an insurance claim, and I wasn't about to start if I could help it. Wait, what do you mean I can use the money? You mean we, right? Nope. I'm thinking I'll move myself into that old folks' home with his pretty grandma and leave you to it. Let's go blow a levee. Mother, dearest. Annie, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about this weekend. I'm really unwell, so I probably couldn't have made it anyway. If you can wait, I'll help you next weekend. I promise. Love you, XXX. My heart sank. Sarah was unreliable, and she does this all the time. But I really thought she'd come through this time. I suppose I thought that every time, but this time I was hoping it would be different. I knew deep down that our friendship was slipping away. We both led totally different lives, but I felt it would be quite a shame to let a near 20-year friendship fade into nothing. It was clear where she stood on it, however, as she was putting less and less effort into her lies. Next weekend would turn into next month, and next month would turn into after Christmas. By the time we got round to it, when she had a weekend where she had nothing else to do, my Gran's old house would be commandeered by rats, bugs, and all manner of weeds. It was now going to be a long, lonely 3-hour drive across the country to New Biggin, and an even lonelier weekend clearing out the house. Part of the reason I'd wanted her to come was that I didn't want to stay there overnight on my own. It was the creepiest place I'd ever been. Every summer up until I turned 14, I was forced to spend 2 weeks there while my parents flew off to some tropical destination for a break. It wasn't until I disappeared the night before I was due to be dropped off that my parents took my complaints seriously. I left them a ransom note stating that I was not in trouble and that I was safe at a friend's house. I informed them that I would return home the next morning at 11, an hour before they were due to leave for the airport. When I returned the following morning, at exactly 11 a.m., my mother was already sat in the passenger seat of the car. As I walked up the drive, my father came out of the front door to meet me. He handed me the house key and an envelope, and looked at me with sly grin. Your mother is upset, as you can see. She wants to leave early. He put his hand on my shoulder. I know you hate going to your Gran's. Quite frankly, I don't blame you. But you're on your own for 2 weeks now, kid. You've got the key. There's 200 quid in there, and that has to last you until we get back. If you starve, then that's on you. And no parties, or I will personally deliver you to your Gran's house and leave you there for a month. He hugged me and kissed me on the head, then got in the car. My mother didn't look at me as they backed off the drive. After a few hours of flicking between podcasts and the radio, I pulled onto the narrow country road that led to the house. It hadn't rained for a few days, but somehow the road was thick with wet mud, and the many potholes that lined it were filled with brown water. I drove carefully along for about 15 minutes until I rounded the last bend and saw the small tree that stretched over the low stone wall of the front garden. As I drove up the driveway, I had to fight every fiber of my being to not reverse out of there and leave the bloody house to rot. Why was I even here? Through some weird sense of loyalty to my mother, a woman that only saw her own mother through proxy, like some old billionaire that can't be bothered to attend board meetings. She had always refused to go to my Gran's house, and also refused to explain to me why. She left as soon as she was able and moved to the nearest city. Soon after, she met my father, and the rest is history. As far as I could remember, The only time she has been back since was to see my grandfather on his deathbed. Even then, she refused to stay over. I got out of the car and tip-toed my way around more potholes to the large red front door. I pulled out the large brass key I was sent by the lawyers and opened it. It was made from a thick slab of heavy wood. I had to use my shoulder and put all of my weight into it to push it open. Once inside, I struggled to see anything. Dusk was arriving outside, and the windows were so thick with grime that the little daylight that was left was barely getting through. I pulled out my key ring and turned on my small travel torch, when something to the right of me caught the corner of my eye. Something moved. I know it did. The painting above the radiator moved its head. I swear it did. But it couldn't have. Obviously. It's a painting. My hand were tingling, and my heart felt like it was climbing a hill in a spin class. I kept the torch shining on the painting and took a few deep breaths, holding for 4 seconds and then exhaling. The painting did not move Annie. I made my way down the hallway to the main room. I retraced my childhood steps towards the large lamp in the corner of the room. I would sneak down here in the middle of the night and read all of my grandfather's old books. The only thing I actually wanted from this clear-out was his original copy of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I would read it every summer. It was the only thing I looked forward to. I found the lamp. I fumbled around with the switch, as my hands were still sweaty. When I eventually got it on, my heart sank. The bookshelf was empty. There is very little dust on the shelves, which means it was recently cleared. As far as I was told, I had the only key, so either I was being lied to or someone had broken in. My only hope was that they were in the cupboard at the bottom. I looked in with my pocket torch and was met with spider webs. I made to stand up, but something stopped me in my tracks. I froze to the spot. My eyes widened to the point where I thought they might fall out. I held my breath. Silence surrounded me until I heard it again. It pierced through my chest. I wanted to scream, to heave open the huge door and leave without looking back. But something kept me there. I slowly turned around. I tried to silently creep through the room, over to the bottom of the large wooden staircase in the middle of the grand hallway. But with every step came a creak from the ancient floorboards. Each creak of the floorboards seemed to reverberate up my spine. My head was fizzing. I reached the entrance back into the hallway, and I could still hear the laugh. It was coming from upstairs. I was drenched with sweat. I could almost feel the drops leaving my pores. My cortisol levels must have been breaking all sorts of records. This is insane. Why am I going up the stairs? At the top of the stairs, the main bedroom and the bathroom were to the right. On the left was my mother's old bedroom, the bedroom that I inherited during those dreaded summers. I waited at the top and held my breath, listening for the laughter. If this was all a game by some silly country kids, they would be lucky to leave with all of their fingers. After a few seconds, I heard it. It was coming from my mother's old room. Enough sneaking about, I leapt up the final stair and burst into the room. Empty. I listened again, but the laughter had stopped. I shone the torch around the room. I had to take a second to think back, to make sure I was remembering things right, as the room looked totally different to the last time I was here. It had been turned into a shrine for my mother. There was pictures of her everywhere, some with her parents, some with my father. There was one of her holding me as a newborn, some with her and friends. All of her old toys were dotted around the room on shelves and drawers. Old medals and school certificates were stuck to the walls. I didn't understand. Why would my grandmother do this? My mother always told me she was cold and distant, never showed any real affection. I always believed her, as that was exactly how she was with me. This made no sense, but who else would do it if it wasn't her? I picked up a photo of my mother as a baby. I looked exactly like her at that age. I almost had time to form a smile before being shocked so much. I dropped the picture and smashed the glass. Bright lights were flashing in through the window, almost as if someone was speaking Morse code. I made my way over to the window and saw that the light was coming from the headlights of my car. Shit. I must have left them on. I hope the battery isn't going flat. I rummaged around in my pockets for my keys until I realized I had them in my hand as I was using the pocket torch I made to turn around, when I felt an ice-cold hand grip the back of my neck. I swung my arm around violently, elbow first, hoping to connect hard with whoever had grabbed me. I didn't connect, so I swung my arms around, hoping to land any sort of blow, just enough for me to create some space and get out. I swung and kicked, but hit nothing. There was no one there. I shook my head and repeated the same breathing exercises as I had performed in front of the painting downstairs before walking over to the door. I need to leave now. And I do mean now. Don't leave me, Annie. My fingers froze around the door handle as if it was covered in super glue. Please don't leave me, Annie. Stay here and play with me. I shone the torch up to where I heard the voice. I tried to scream. I had to scream. If I didn't scream, my head was going to explode. My mother was sat up in her bed, clutching her childhood doll. Don't go out there. If you go out there, you'll die. I don't want you to die, Annie. I want you to stay here with me forever. The scream finally left me. It left me with more force than anything I have ever felt in my life. The whole room seemed to shake. I screamed until every last breath had left my lungs. Then I threw open the door so hard it almost came off. Its hinges. I sprinted down the stairs, jumping down the last 4. I reached the front door. I hadn't locked it when I'd came in, so I twisted the large brass handle and pulled. I couldn't use my weight to push it open this time, so I opened it as far as I could, then squeezed my fingers into the opening so I could have a better grip on the door to pull. I heard the laughter again. It was getting louder, which meant it was getting closer. "Annie, don't be silly. You'll die out there. Stay with me." I pulled and pulled. I eventually put my foot in the gap and pushed the door back with my heel. Once there was enough space, I squeezed through, then sprinted over to my car, swinging the door open, then diving in. I turned the key once, twice. On the 3rd time it worked. I put it into gear, ripped the handbrake down, span around, and drove straight through the closed gate. The casualty has been identified as Annie Jones after her car skidded off a country road and collided head-on with a tree. The incident is made even more tragic, as she had been driving back home after visiting her late grandmother's house to deal with her estate due to the tragic deaths of her mother and father the previous year. Our thoughts go out to her close friends and family at the unfortunate time. Hail Mary. The man lay prone on the edge of thick woods, sighting down the scope of a .30-06 hunting rifle. Snow flurries melted on the back of his neck for an unknown reason, and mixed with the smell of pine and gun oil, the phrase "veil of an endless winter" entered his mind. He shook his head. "Poetry is the vice of fools," he scoffed. Through the compressed distance, the telescopic lens thickened the falling snow, proving the chalk house a quarter-kilometer away, a miraged dream. A woman came out on the porch, centered in the crosshairs. As if something caught her attention, she glanced quickly in the man's direction. She studied the woods for a long time. They stared back at one another, she in the glass from opposing distance, he a foreign and ominous presence. He stripped off his camouflage clothing, his muscles taut. After switching out to jeans, a black polar tech, and civilian hiking boots, he broke down the rifle, then wrapped the sections carefully in white cloth. He stuffed the bundle into his knapsack. Before he tied up the pack, he pulled out a clear plastic sleeve containing a yellowed file. Within it, he flipped through multiple pages, stopping at an aged copy of a driver's license. The photo, a man with long white hair. He tapped the image, his forefinger protruding from a fingerless leather black glove. He then said out loud, "Gotcha, you son of a bitch. Do you have food?" he asked the woman who answered the oak plank door. She was gaunt and scanned over the man's head to to the woods. She's beautiful, he thought. Is she 35 or 50? She looked the man over. We can give you food for work, but not long. Okay, what are you? I'm Tavi. No, I mean, what are you? Bannock. I'm Bannock. Did you come from Twin Falls? The reservation. No, no one comes from there anymore. We need you to bury cattle. Can you do that? Yes. Days went by, and the man slept in the barn and spent his time chipping at frozen ground, digging holes, maws in the earth. There were over 50 carcasses in a field, bloated and gray-white. The work didn't bother him. It took his mind off remembering the night the white flash struck the horizon, safely at home, a Netflix series on TV. His wife was reading in a pink robe, his son in his bedroom. His first thought was, why didn't I ever buy a gun? The impact wave struck the house, sweeping it away, as easy as fine cutlery off a table. And as luck would have it, leaving him without a scratch, but alone. Sooner than he could have ever imagined, he was arrested by men coming to his tent in the camps. You're a terrorist, accused the broken and terrified faces, neighbors he'd hugged at Christmas parties. The only way to prove he wasn't the enemy was learning how to fire a gun, learning how to point a finger at other people, learning how not to feel anything while passing ash-laden bodies, hanging in nooses. How can I live with myself? He'd ask the ghost of his wife. You can't, she'd say. Just come home. No, he cares nothing about us. You're too young to understand, the old woman said to the boy. And why should he care? He'll slit our throats right here in the kitchen. The old woman, her daughter Faith, and the boy were eating dinner. Faith cut ribs, separating the bones by hacking at them with a meat cleaver. The boy's face glistened badly, where on one side his flesh lay in white, scared rivulets. Just stop, Faith said to her mother. He's only 12. No one spoke for over a minute, while the old woman stared at Faith cutting the meat. He's scum, you know? Only an Indian would bury livestock for a living. With her elbows spread wide, her pincered teeth darted back and forth, pecking small pieces of flesh. A white bone in her greasy skeleton hands. What makes you so sure he's trouble? Maybe he's been sent to help us. Now you've got the sickness to think that. I don't imagine we need to worry he'll kill us while we sleep. Do you think that? Really? Damn right I do. That's exactly what he'll do if we're not careful. Faith's mother spit out a piece of pink grizzle. Your brother will be back soon. He'll tell us what to do. What's that? The boy called from the porch. Tavi held a football, flipping it in his hands. He threw the leather ball to the boy, who fumbled and dropped it. I'm not very good, the boy said. Sure you are. Pass it to me. Tavi moved away from the porch. The boy was thin and moved like a young man, and Tavi's face grimaced, remembering a day when the sky was blue and fall leaves, yellow and red. I only dream in color, he thought. The boy threw him the ball. Better, you are good. Now you run out. The boy hesitated, moved off the porch, and jogged out 10 paces. Throw it, Tavi. Go way back. Tavi held the ball high in a poise, like a statue getting ready to launch the ball. Holding the stance, and with a radio announcer's voice, he said, "Listeners, he's going out for the big play, still 2 points behind. Will the Saints have a last gasp to win the game?" Tavi braced himself. He's throwing a Hail Mary. The crowd roars. The boy ran well into the yard, and Tavi threw deep, the ball arching through the gray sky. The boy reached his fingers and bobbled the ball, tipping it up into the air. It then fell into his arms. Score! The boy hero wins the game. The boy's smile broke broadly, and he came back to the porch. He handed the ball to Tavi. There's no more football, but there is. We're the proof, aren't we? I guess. But it's not the same. Tavi put his arm around the boy's neck. He pulled him close. Laughing, the boy hugged Tavi. Tavi winced. He burst out crying. Just go in the house, will you? Go, damn it! The boy cowered, his eyes wide. He ran to the house and slammed the screen door. Soon Faith came out, but Tavi was nearly retuned to the barn. Is this what it's come to? She asked herself. Am I so desperate I'd let my son be abused by a stranger who barely talks? No. Even with your life stripped away, you still have something. Your son. He is the only pure honesty left. What keeps you alive? She plodded to the barn and then leaned against the barn door. Tavi's shirt was off, and he was pumping water into a bucket. Scars covered his back like lost highways on some map no one used anymore. You don't yell at my son, Faith said. Tavi glanced up. I'm sorry. What's your problem? Nothing. That's not enough. If you want to stay, you need to tell me. It's nothing, okay? What? Tell me. Tavi put his shirt back on. Jason reminds me of my son. It's hard for me. That's all. A minute passed. I'm sorry, but that's still no reason. What did you do before the war? I worked in a fishery near Stanley. We would spawn salmon and release them into the river. Why would you do that? We would count the few that returned. They traveled hundreds of miles from the ocean to get back. The lake is called Redfish, for when my people lived there. The lake was red with the fish. Do you think there's still fish? I don't know, but I'd like to find out. They say the deer may have returned also. Some elk. Life is still out there. People survived. Just luck in my case, Faith. Bad luck. Maybe something else. I don't believe in anything but luck. But you don't know, do you? Maybe there's something else other than luck. That sounds like a stretch, Faith. I used to think we're meant to leave something better for those to follow. I don't believe that anymore. Something better for those to follow? We didn't do such a wonderful job, did we? What about you? Is there anywhere you'd like to go? I'll stay here. My brother takes care of us. Food, fuel. Without him, we'd be in a camp, I suppose. You'll like him. He'll be here in a few days." Tavi reached out and touched a place on Faith's cheek. He caressed her with his fingers, then reached behind her and braced the back of her neck. He showed no emotion, like stroking a cardboard box, his eyes curious. Remembering, finally, Faith said, "It's been a long time. I've aged. You might not. You don't know who I am, Faith. My advice is to run." They stood facing each other. Then Faith began pulling away. Tavi gently held her neck. Finally, Faith leaned in and grazed Tavi's ear with her lips. "There's a place for you in the house. There's still room, at least for hope, isn't there?" Tavi woke from a dream where he was wearing snowshoes in thick snow over ice. He was breaking trail, and his wife was behind him in a red winter jacket. The sun was bright, and she laughed at something he said. With a grunt, she broke through the ice and then clawed at the edge where the hole had broken through. She soon slipped under. Tavi stripped off his jacket and dove into the hole. As he pulled down with his arms into the ice water, his body felt numb, but he still kicked his legs with everything he had, swimming deeper. At last, the red jacket was just beneath him, his wife reaching to him from below in the pale light. "Swim, damn it! Swim! Grab my hand!" Faith lay next to him in the dawn white of winter. She was shoving his shoulder. There are men on the porch. As Faith and Tavi came downstairs, they saw two men talking to the old woman. One man towered over her. He wore a Kevlar vest and leaned in. "We've got him, so this is a simple trade, if you think about it." The old woman held a small pistol in her hand. "Jesse, take your boy and get off my property." The younger one moved to go. He wore a vest also, but both the vest and the camouflage clothing didn't fit. More clown-like than threatening, Jesse scowled down at the old woman. "You telling us you don't want him? He's my son. You think I don't want him?" The man put his hand on the big revolver on his side. "You give us what Joe told us you have, or we'll start carving on him. We aren't in high school anymore." The screen door squeaked, and Tavi came out of the house. He stood by the old woman's side. Tavi glanced at the AR-15, auto-fed, that the younger man had slung over his shoulder. It dangled on a lanyard. Jesse glanced at Tavi. "Who the hell is this?" "You get out of here, now," the old woman said. The two men walked away, and Tavi and the old woman went back into the house. They gathered in the living room with the boy and Faith. "Why didn't you shoot him, Grandma?" asked the boy. He went to the window and peered through. "That's Jesse Rollins." "Yes, it is," said the old woman. "Now move away from the window." "What did they mean by saying they have Joe?" Faith asked. The old woman checked the handgun for bullets. A small .22 pistol. They have our Joe, holding him out there. But I'm not giving them anything. It's all we have keeping us from a camp. You can't imagine, Faith, what Joe says is going on. He's family. It's a trade, isn't it? I'm just doing what he'd do to us. He's as dog-eat-dog as I am, and knows how it is. Tavi entered the room, carrying his pack. It was full, his feet heavy on the wood slats. The scoped rifle was strapped in a sling over his shoulder, and he wore camouflaged fatigues. In front of the old woman, he said, "I'll be needing your pistol." The old woman grabbed for the gun, but Tavi held her wrist while he twisted it out of her hand. He then tucked it in the rear of his pants. The boy had tears in his eyes. "Tavi?" Tavi went to the window. He stared for a long time, and then, in a quick motion, he turned over the yellow pine table on its side, dishes shattering, and dragged it to the window. He grabbed a chair, crouched on the seat, and lay the rifle barrel on the edge of the table. Leaning into the scope, the staked-out man 50 yards away came into focus. It had stopped snowing, and the crosshairs remained steady on the man's head, resolute and sharp. The man's hair was long and white. "There's your humanity," the old woman screamed at Faith. "You see it now, don't you, darling?" Tavi lifted the rifle. "Jason, come here." He dragged over another chair. "I'm going to go out there and draw those men out of the woods. When you see the smaller man come out with the rifle, he intends to kill me. Do you understand that? You shoot him, okay? Don't think about it. Just pull the trigger. Here, place your eye on the scope like this. Do you think you can do it?" He passed the rifle to Jason. "Yes, sir." Tavi slowly crossed the yard to the edge of the clearing. He approached the man on the ground. The boy crouched at the window. "Come on, come on, come on," he mumbled to himself as he steadied the rifle, bracing the stock with his shoulder. The old woman paced behind him. "You can't shoot, squat." She shoved Jason and put her hands on the barrel. "Give it to me." Jason pushed her away and sighted again out the window. Tavi came to the man staked down. He was moaning in the gray ash snow, his face bleeding and bruised. Long white hair streamed down his back, matted and wet. Tavi stared down at him and prodded him with his boot. "Do you know who I am?" The man on the snow stared back at Tavi with blank eyes. Tavi reached down and cut him loose, and the man rose and staggered towards the house. Jesse came out of the woods. "What are you doing? Where's our trade, big man?" Tavi stood up. "I'm the trade. Me for him. We'll take you, him, and anything they've got," Jesse said. "Plus, we'll step in where you left off with Faith, you might say." The old woman jostled Jason, tugging on the barrel. "Give me that thing." Again, Jason pushed his grandmother away, jerked the rifle back, his whole body shaking as he crouched behind the scope. He took his eye off the lens to wipe the sweat out of his eyes. Give me the gun, damn it, boy. The boy thrust his body against the old woman, and she sprawled to the floor. He put his eye to the scope, put the crosshairs on the man, and pulled the trigger. Faith heard the click of the gun, and with the empty sound, her heart thumped. Just once, like her insides were collapsing hard in her chest. Jason dropped the rifle, ran to the door, and then stood on the porch. Tavi! His arms flailing, he leaped into the yard. No, don't! Faith screamed. Don't you go! Jason ran towards Tavi, his legs driving through the snow, white bursting around him, the ash kicking up underneath. The younger man squinted at the lunatic boy, whirlpooling his arms, coming straight at him. A howling apparition from hell, scars red aflame on his face. He lifted the AR-15 to his shoulder and swung the barrel. Tavi grabbed the rifle and threw his back into him, and with both hands, he forced the gun toward Jesse, who screamed as jackhammer bullets stitched across his belly. The younger man was behind Tavi now, and he felt a blade slide into his back, slick and deep, the pain piercing to his spine. He fell away and turned as he hit the ground and reached the pistol behind his back and fired into the young man. Tavi dreamed. The water was deep, a pure crystal blue. He pulled with his arms and kicked as hard as he could to fight, to descend. He tasted salt. And then his wife was there in her red jacket and broad-faced smile, reaching to him from below. The water was warm as he went deeper, so very warm. She stretched to him, her face with such a smile. "Grab my hand," she said, and he did. They began swimming against the current. So today's story has come to an end. Or perhaps it never really ended. There are mysteries still there, questions still unanswered, and sometimes things that seem to only exist in stories can creep into reality in unexpected ways. Are you sure that when you turn off the sound, everything around you will still be normal as before? Or is there something watching you? Either way, always remember that these are just stories, or at least we want to believe that they are. If you like moments of suspense, tension, and breathlessness, don't forget to follow me so you don't miss the next stories. And next time, when you come back, make sure you are ready, because what awaits you may be even scarier than you thought. See you again if you still have the courage to continue listening.